Hello, it's me, TR Perry, and this is my author tube. So today I wanted to talk to you all about how exactly do you write a book. And I realized that this is a little bit of a multi-step process, obviously. So I figured one of the best ways for me to explain this to you all is by just bringing you along in my journey of writing the second book in the Rose Wielder series that I am writing right now. So this book, I have decided on a title, which is War Leader, and that's going to be the title of the second book. I'm going to be taking you through the different steps that it takes to write a book from beginning to end. Today, I wanted to talk about the beginning stage, which is brainstorming. So when you're writing a book, basically, there's two different ways to write a book. There are two different styles of writing that a lot of authors might find themselves in one way or the other. One is called being a plotter, and the other is called being a pantser. So if you are a plotter, that is a person who makes an outline of their book, writes down every single detail, and basically once they've completed their full outline, they then go ahead and write their book. A pantser is kind of similar to what it sounds like. You basically write by flying by the seat of your pants. That's why you're called a pantser. And it means you take a blank page, and you just start writing. You just see what comes to mind and you just organically come up with, a perfect book or something, right? Okay, so one of the best things to do when you're in the beginning stages, which is, really brainstorming this book, is to figure out what kind of way you want to write this book. Are you going to plot it or are you going to pants it? Now, one thing I've heard from a lot of authors, and I definitely agree with this, is that for most people, there's probably some middle ground that you should find where you do a combination of both. Now, I don't know how your brain works, so I'm not going to tell you how you need to write your book. What I will say is this: I'm more of a plotter, and I really appreciate that because it allows me to know what's happening in the book, and if there's something I want to change, something I want to develop, it's a lot easier to put that in the outline and switch chapters around and stuff like that than start from the very beginning, and then if I don't like a chapter, then completely deleting it and starting over and trying to change words in between, and it's too much. Yeah, so when you look at brainstorming, and it is basically the beginning of the plotting, what you want to do is just kind of write down a lot of ideas you have. I'm going to show you all on the screen what it looks like for me when I am plotting my books, when I'm kind of trying to brainstorm and figure out the ideas of what I want. Basically, you write down keywords, you write down all kinds of stuff to figure out what it is you want this book to be about. In my brainstorming document, I wrote down different themes that I thought were interesting and things that I felt like including in the book. So the second thing you're going to want to do once you have done enough brainstorming is you want to start plotting your book. So to plot your book, you're going to basically take the themes that you have covered and that you want to cover in the book, and you are going to kind of divide them into sections or chapters. It's easiest for me to just divide those things into chapters, and again, I will show a document here showing you what it looked like when I was first kind of plotting my book. So you have these main ideas, you know where you want it to start and you know where you want it to end, and you have some ideas of things you want to happen in the book. Now you just start writing them down in a logical way that you feel like makes sense and shows how you're going to really get from that point A to point B. Some things that are really helpful when you're making an outline are to write down maybe a title of the chapter, and then also write little mini blurbs of what you want to happen in each chapter. It can be anything from a few sentences to a paragraph to multiple paragraphs with multiple sections. It just depends on you. Some people are very detailed and some people aren't. Now, I would say this is the point where, for me, I become a little bit more of a pantser, if that makes sense. I like to just have a main paragraph or a couple sentences of what I want to happen in each chapter. And then from there, I just start writing and see how the best way it's going to flow into the next chapter. I don't want to take away that part of the organic experience, because there are definitely plenty of times while I'm writing that as you're writing, you kind of figure out what you need to write next, basically. So I don't want to, decide everything that's going to happen in each chapter completely down to the exact point. So I guess the best way to say it is that I plot books from beginning of the book to the end of the book, but then in each chapter I'm more of like a pantser, where in that little section I am just letting my imagination run wild from the beginning of that chapter to the end of that chapter. So it's kind of like organized pantsing, I guess you could say. So yeah, that is the first stage of writing a book. You have the creating of the brainstorming section, and you